Ho ho buddies, welcome to Borderline Games. I'm Gareth and today we're playing Virtue's Last Reward. Last time we managed to, in the laboratory, solve the escape room. We got a vial of Axelivir, or however you pronounce it, and it was snatched away from us by Dio, and he's gone off and says if you want it back then you better choose Ally in the next AB Dextrous, whatever it's called. What's it called? In the next voting thing, basically. And now we're going to go and see everybody waiting for us. So let's go do that. And he also said, if you tell anybody about this, then I am going to break it. The vial, I mean. He didn't explain it because we knew what he meant. I didn't wait for Clover's response. We're going. We skip this? No. We've got a bunch of locked endings that I want to unlock if we can. So I'm just playing as many routes as I can to try and find the right solution. It's trial and error at this point. But I guess we're going to ally ourselves with Dio to start with, and then maybe we'll see what happens if we betray. Warehouse, eh? Ho ho ho. There we go. An Amberdex gate has been opened. 45 minutes remain until Amberdex game polling closes. Sorry, I went ahead and cracked it open a bit early. Dio. In one of his hands was a moonkey. He twirled it around like a veteran gambler, grinned and slid it back into his pocket. You don't mind, right? I figured you and Clover would get up here right away. Besides, I thought it'd be best to get this done soon before you lose your nerve. I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to the next round. Ugh. I glanced around the warehouse. Alice and Kay were back. Well, surely they can hear this conversation, as was Fi. And of course Clover. Where's Tenmyouji and the rest of them? They're in the infirmary. We carried Quark to one of the beds. Tenmyouji and Luna are looking after him. I see. How's he doing? Well, it's hard to say. He seems to be sleeping soundly, but beyond that, there's really no way to know. No change then, huh? Right. So what was your room, Sigma? A laboratory. Is that so? Did it look like the kind of place where they'd be researching viruses and DNA and those kind of things? Yeah, it did. Was there any of that Axelivir? Don't tell those other idiots that you found some Axelivir in here. I hear one word about it and the next thing you hear will be the bits of glass shattering on the floor. My eyes flickered to Dio for a moment. No, nothing. Beside me, Clover bit a lip. I see. So, how'd it go with you? Find anything interesting? Fi only shook her head. With a unison of movement that almost looked choreographed, Alice and Kay shrugged. Interesting. Where does that leave us? We've still got about 40 minutes left until voting ends. What are you going to do? I'm a little curious about that lab you found. I thought I might go take a peek at it. I'll show you the way then. That would be wonderful. I think I'll go have a look at the room Alice Kay and Tenmyouji found. Never know, maybe you missed something. Perhaps there's some Axelavia hidden somewhere in there. Gah. What a bastard. Then I shall take you there. What about you two? Where are you going? Well, I think I'll start by heading over to the infirmary to see how Quark's doing. Then I will too. Glad that's settled. She nodded to Clover and they disappeared through the magenta door. Dio and Kay followed a few footsteps behind. Okay then. Guess we should be going too. Hold on. Show me that journal first. Dio told me about it. He wouldn't tell me anything about the lab except that you found a journal with, his words, some sort of bullshit language. He said you had it, so I was hoping I could take a look. Yeah. One sec. I dug the journal out of my pocket and handed it to Phi. She began to flip through the pages, her eyes quickly scanning each one. This is Latin. Latin? You mean you can read it? Yeah, with time and a dictionary. So, in other words, no. Pardon me for not being able to translate a dead language on the fly. This looks like some kind of research log. It's not going to be some sort of I took the dog for a walk today. It was, nice kind of stuff. I can understand a little of it, mostly conjunctions and things like that. But most of these words I've never even seen before. Phi started to leaf through the book again as she spoke. Then suddenly she stopped. Wait. I can read this one. Page 216. This isn't research notes. It looks like a personal entry. What's it say? Don't rush me. It's gonna take a minute. Come on, Phi. Interesting. Alright, I think I got it. It looks like they're talking about Radical 6. What? Why are they talking about that? Not sure. Let me read it to you. Keep in mind I'm paraphrasing. When the body is infected with Radical 6, the processing speed of the brain is reduced. If we assume the brain currently operates on a one-to-one basis with regards to time, Radical 6 reduces this to a 1 to the square root of a sixth, or approximately 1 to 0.408. Hang on, so let's process that. So does that mean that time feels slower, or it feels faster? Oh, okay. This means that for each second that passes outside, the patient feels only 0.408 seconds have passed inside. Therefore, when 1 second has passed inside, approximately 2.45 seconds or the square root of 6 seconds have passed outside. In other words, when 10 seconds have passed in the real world, a patient infected with Radical 6 would feel as if only 4 seconds had passed. This is why the virus had been termed Radical 6. I see. Radical is another term for what is also known as the root operation, the function inverse to the taking of a power. In a less mathematical sense, it can also be used to refer to something that is extreme or severe. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide. Oh my god. The exact cause of this is unclear, and although there is as yet no direct link between suicidal urges and the reduction in mental processing speed, many believe that they are not unrelated. Those infected with Radical 6 perceive the world to be moving at a fever pitch, as if it were a video cassette being fast-forwarded. For instance, although the patient believes that only 10 seconds have passed, in fact 24.5 seconds have passed. Given this increased speed of input, maintaining the ability to observe and reason will become a Herculean task. One theory holds that the disparity in time perception causes the brain to be flooded with massive amounts of information. Unable to keep up, it begins to fail. Whatever the cause, the infected invariably attempt to take their own lives, which is arguably the most terrifying aspect of this virus. Research suggests that a targeted antiviral could kill or at least disable Radical 6, but we have been unable to develop one. It seems our best hope now is to harvest antibodies from someone with a natural immunity to the virus. Thus far, however, we have been unable to locate a suitable subject, so I have continued my efforts to discover an alternative means of treatment. Given my current rate of progress, I predict that I will have a workable treatment within a decade or two. Well, she did pretty well considering that she doesn't know it that well. It is my fervent hope that humanity will be able to survive that long. The bodies of those dead from suicide are piled up along the roads leading into and out of town. The entire area reeks with the stench of decay, and the sky is filled with the constant buzzing of flies. At times their swarms are so thick that when one passes it feels as if a cloud has gone over the sun. Jesus Christ. Every day I see more crows, and rats are everywhere, feeding on the dead. Ironically, the only healthy-looking creatures are the stray cats, who have grown fat on a plentiful rodent diet. The few humans who just survived the outbreak have been locked away by the government in underground shelters. Oh, like us, maybe. I don't know how many were saved, but I fear only a handful. The survival is the only hope that remains for the human race. Oh Lord, please. Let their future be a bright one. Curious. Whoa, that's a lot of information. Now we know what the virus does to you, though. If you get infected, your brain slows down by the root of 1/6. What's that, about 40%? That isn't the important part. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually develop a powerful urge to commit suicide. Yeah, you're right. Oops, that would explain why Quark was, well, trying to kill himself. There are two other things in here that worry me. First, the part about how they haven't managed to develop a treatment for it yet. What do you make of that? What am I supposed to make of it? Maybe they just hadn't found one when this journal was written. I mean, from what we know, there's a drug called Axelavir that cures it. Exactly. But in the journal it says it might take 20 years to make something like that. Oh, okay. So, we're in the future then, right? We are definitely later than 2028. Hold on a second. I'm getting confused. When was this thing even written? December 29th. No year. Well, there's no way it was written this year. Yeah, probably not. Anyway, moving on. I mean, it has to have been because they're saying there are outbreaks of... whatever. The second concern I have is about the underground shelters it mentions. The newspaper article said something about quarantining people too. After we read it, we all thought the same thing. What if this was one of those quarantine facilities? But this journal seems to suggest the opposite. The few humans who survived the outbreak have been locked away by the government in underground shelters. I see, so it can't be this one. You're trying to say that this place might be one of those underground shelters? Which would mean we're all supposed to be uninfected. We'd have been thrown in here to keep us safe. Oh, I see. Yeah, I mean, there's no way to say for sure at this point, but it seems possible. But Quark's been infected, right? Then maybe the virus got in somehow. That would be bad. Just think about it for a minute. If this is one of those shelters, a lot of things start to make sense. Maybe we've been here for a long time. Like, maybe they put us to sleep somehow. Made us sleep for years, maybe even decades. While we were sleeping, the pandemic that newspaper article talked about happened, and whoever had this journal made this entry. And then once the antiviral treatment was finished, they woke us up. Right. It's all just speculation, but... No, that doesn't make sense. I mean, it seems like a pretty plausible scenario, but... We were all captured before the pandemic started, right? Yeah. And how would they have put us to sleep for that long? How would they have known to do that? But most importantly, why the hell are we playing the nonary game if the point of this place is to save us? Throwing a bunch of people into a game that might kill them is a pretty weird way to protect them from a pandemic. Yeah, you're right. See? We don't have enough information to make any real conclusions. I think we should see if we can find anything else. Vi had barely finished speaking before she took off for the magenta door. Hey, wouldn't you come into the infirmary with me? I changed my mind. You can tell me about Quark later. And with that, she was gone. Was she gone? Man. I let out a long, tired sigh and started off toward the infirmary. Okay, oh. So I could skip that tiny bit. How's he doing? He seems to be stable as far as I can tell.
Still sleeping?
I see. Mind if I have a look? Please, go ahead. I made my way around the petition to the side of Quark's bed. The journal and the thing Fi and I had talked about would definitely need to be addressed, but for the moment, the AB game was what I needed to concentrate on. Lives were at stake. Mine. And Quark's. Mainly mine. Those infected by Radical 6 eventually developed a powerful urge to commit suicide. In the journal, if the journal was telling the truth, then as soon as the anesthetic wore off, Quark would go insane again. What if we weren't able to restrain him a second time? What if he managed to kill himself before we got to him? Or perhaps he'd just get out of the infirmary and go hide somewhere. On the other hand, it wasn't like we could keep anesthetizing, anesthetizing him for whatever. We're gonna move on. Him forever. There was only one way to save Quark, and that was with Axelavia. Unfortunately, Dio had stolen it. If we wanted to get it back, Clover and I would have to vote ally. But if I did, there was an excellent chance I'd end up dead. An excellent chance. The question was, then, what to do? Sacrifice myself to save Quark? Or keep quiet about the danger he was in to save myself? It was so faint I almost didn't hear it. What was?
Grandpa. Grandpa.
He shifted a little, then fell silent again. It was enough, though. What on earth had I been thinking? How could I have even considered letting a child die in my place? Suddenly my cheeks felt hot with embarrassment and disgust. That I had considered letting Quark die, even for a minute, was pathetic. There was only one choice. There had only ever been one choice. No way was I going to leave Quark to die. My hands tightened into fists as I looked down at him. I will kill him here myself. Any uncertainty I'd felt before was gone. I knew what I had to do. I must kiss Dio. 10 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes. All players, please enter your votes. If no vote is recorded before the deadline has passed, any non-voting parties will automatically ally.
Looks like it's almost time. You two should head back.
What about you?
Not going. I'm worried about Quark.
But you're a solo if you don't vote. Can we skip this bit? No.
I'll automatically ally. I know. I heard the voice on the intercom just like you.
What are you going to do if Kay and Alice vote betray?
Nothing, I suppose. Just means I lost that round. I'd just be voting ally anyway. You know who my opponents are, right? Alice only has 1 BP left. If I picked Betray and then chose ally, and they chose ally, I'd kill her. I'm not so desperate to escape that I'm going to kill someone for it. Good to know. And even if I was, I can't leave Quark behind. You see? Doesn't matter if I go to the AB room or not. My vote's the same either way.
Tenmyouji's mind was made up. Trying to persuade him to leave would have been pointless. Alright. Take care of Quark.
Of course. You worry about yourself.
Let's go. Okay. Luna and I headed out to the infirmary, leaving Tenmyouji and Quark behind. When we got to the warehouse, we found everyone else waiting for us. Well, not quite everyone. One other person was missing. Hey, where's Dio? Take a look at the doors. They're all closed. When we came in here before, the one on the far right was open. And that would mean that he went in, I guess. Exactly. That bastard. He'd probably been worried I might try and take the Axelavia from him by force. Axelavia. So he'd hidden himself in the AB room. What a coward. I made up my mind to choose ally no matter what, but part of me had still considered trying to jump Dio if he dropped his guard. Now he'd made sure I wouldn't get the chance to try. Where's Tenmyouji? Oh, Luna explained Tenmyouji's choice. I see. Well, I guess that means I don't have to worry about him picking Betray. Right. What will you guys be choosing then? Ally, of course. Because my BP is 6, I assume. Yes. As long as Tenmyouji votes ally, I can't choose Betray. If I do, K's BP will go up to 9. But what if he forces you? Ha ha ha. You needn't worry. I would never do something so crass. Really? Of course. Then you don't need to go in there. Excuse me? Alice can vote by herself. Then we don't have anything to worry about, right? Well, Nice. I apologize, but I'm afraid I can't agree to that. Why not? I just can't. Shall we go, Alice? Hey, hold on a minute there. Kay continued briskly towards the AB room as if he simply hadn't heard Phi. Alice scrambled to follow him, perhaps concerned that he would lock her out. Only seconds later they disappeared into the third room, from the left. I hope Alice is going to be okay. Well, there's nothing we can do now. If Kay told the truth, she'll be fine. 5 minutes remain until Ambidex game polling closes. Time's almost up. Come on, Luna. Right. They headed off at a trot toward the second room from the right, and were soon out of sight inside of it. Alright, Clover, time for us to go. Oh, okay. Right behind you. I sighed to myself and headed toward the leftmost AB room. Okay, we're gonna ally. Let's see if he kills us or not. What are you gonna do? I don't really have a choice, do I? There's only one thing I can do. I'm gonna choose ally.
You can't! You'll die!
Well, you never know. Just because Dio told us to ally doesn't necessarily mean he's gonna pick betray.
You really think a jerk like that is gonna choose ally if he doesn't have to? No! No way! He's got 6 BP right now. If he picks betray, then he'll have 9 points.
Well, what about you?
Huh?
You've got 6 BP too, right? If Dio chose ally and we chose betray, then you'd have 9 BP.
What? No, that's not... I didn't even realise that until you brought it up. I'm just trying to tell you that Dio's going to pick betray. That's who he is.
And I'm trying to tell you that I've made up my mind. That's who I am. The only choice is ally. It's the only chance we have to get that medicine back.
That's why Dio called you an IG. That's what makes you think he's going to give us the Axelavia, even if we do what he says.
Maybe he won't, but I can guarantee that he'll destroy it if I pick betray. That's who he is. That's who he is.
Fine. If you aren't going to listen to me, then I guess I don't have a choice. I'll be pushing that button.
Huh? Before I realised what was going on, Clover ducked past me and ran toward the voting machine. No! Stop! I snatched her by the arm and hauled backwards with all my strength.
Ow!
Sorry. Guess that was a little too hard, huh?
Hey! What do you think you're doing? You can't just throw a girl around like that.
Well, you're the one who tried to trick me.
But You're gonna die! Dio's gonna kill you! You can't do this! I don't want you to die. You're too cute.
I love those moments where you're just clicking through dialogue, which is just silence. 10 seconds remain until Ambidex's game polling closes. Thanks. It means a lot to hear you say that, Clover. I gave her my best reassuring nod and turned to face the polling machine. 3, 2, 1. Round 2 of the Ambidex game has been completed. Results will be displayed in the warehouse. Thank you for your participation. Ambidex gates now opening. Clover and I stepped out of the AB room. For several long moments we just stared at one another. Words weren't necessary. Everything she would have tried to tell me I could already see in her eyes. Let's go. I turned and headed toward the results screen.
Sigma.
I heard her behind me, her voice barely louder than a whisper. The choice was already made. I stood up straight and kept walking. Bum, 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 bum. Betray. Oh. Hang on, let's process this. So someone betrayed Tenmyouji? They allied? Wow, okay. Results from round 2 of the Ambidex game will now be displayed. Please check your bracelet to see your updated bracelet points. -1. Ooh, am I gonna just die?
What?
Sigma's BP is...
negative.
Suddenly all eyes were on me. I felt their weight but stood my ground. It was the result I had expected. I took a deep breath and closed my eyes. I didn't have to wait long. There was a sharp, quick pain in my wrist, barely even noticeable. I couldn't feel anything flow into my veins, but I knew it was there. First would be the anesthetic Sopril. I blinked and my vision started to blur. When I tried to think, it felt like my mind had been stuffed with cotton. My legs began to wobble, then gave out entirely as I crumpled to the floor. Sigma! Sigma! Hang on! Hey! Sigma! Get up! Sigma! Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, oh no. Trying to open my eyelids was like trying to lift sheets of lead. My eyes had lost the ability to focus, but I could make out a blur that had to be Dio in front of the number 9 door. Damn it. You'll keep your promise, goddammit. I groaned and with a Herculean effort lifted my head and then my sluggish body off the floor. Every step was a battle. Whenever I shifted my weight, my muscles threatened to give out again. But somehow I forced myself ahead, a single thought burning in my mind. I would reach Dio. Then, at last. The smudge of colour faded into a recognisable person. I threw out my hand in front of him. Give it back. Give me the medicine. Give it back. Don't act like it's yours. Aren't we supposed to share everything we find here? I don't care. Just hand me the medicine. What are you talking about? We found the Exalavia in the laboratory. And Dio stole it. What? You mean he has it? Right now? Yeah, so? I kept my promise. Now, you. I wasn't a fool. I knew the kind of person Dio was. There was a chance he wouldn't give me back the Axalavia. If he didn't, then I'd die with my hands around his throat. I gathered as much of my mind as I could and got ready to attack. Fine. Not quite what I'd been expecting. Here. With a shrug, he pulled the vial out of his pocket and tossed it towards me. Is that going to break? I caught it and pulled the tiny glass bottle to my chest, worried I might drop it. The label said unmistakably, Axalavia. It was the real thing. Clover. Take it. I held it out toward her. Right. Of course. She quickly tucked it into her pocket. Good. Now at least Quark will be alright. With that, the last of my strength left me, and I dropped to my knees. Ah! Sigma, are you okay? Sigma! Sigma! I guess this is it.
First is the Sopril, which puts you to sleep. 9 minutes later, the tubocorarine is injected, numbing your respiratory muscles. I guess you could say it'll really take your breath away.
9 minutes. Once the Sopril was injected, I had 9 minutes until the muscle relaxant followed it. About 4 minutes had already passed, which left me with 5, give or take a little. 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, I'd be dead. What could I do in 5 minutes? How could I save myself? Huh. I gave a raspy, quiet laugh. Even with death staring me in the face, I seemed to be determined to struggle right up until the very end. Okay, Sigma. You can do this. Clinging desperately to what little consciousness I had left, I racked my brain for any possible solutions. How could I save myself? How? There had to be something. Every problem, no matter how difficult, has a solution. There's always another option. Hopelessness is a state of mind. We're going to get a dead end again. I just had to think. Think. If there was a way out, I'd find it. I wasn't ready to give up on life yet. There had to be an answer. Is that the answer? To be continued, fuck me. Okay. Right, so let's have a look. Where is that? Lock 3. Okay, so what else we got? Oh, hang on, this is not a lock anymore. Lock number 2. Is the proof it wasn't a murder? What did we do there? We've done something. Okay, well, let's check this out. Can we skip it? Yeah, Clover's like, hey, prove to me it wasn't a murder. Oh, those infected by Radical 6 eventually developed a powerful urge to commit suicide. Right, okay, so she committed suicide because she was infected with Radical 6. Cool. We can move on. Suddenly, Clover moved. I leapt forward and clapped my hands around her wrist. What are you doing? Clover, listen to me. Alice wasn't killed. Nobody murdered her. She took her own life. Ooh, I opened the second lock. Look at me. What? No. No, there's no way she'd do that. It's true. She stabbed herself in the heart with the scalpel. Alright, where'd you get that scalpel then? Well, I did hear someone come into the infirmary right after the AB game ended.
Was that before I showed up?
Yes. I got up to see who it was, but they were already gone. It could have been Alice. So she could have taken the scalpel then? Yes, I think so. You're lying! This is all a lie, it has to be! It's not. It's the truth. Then why did she do it? Why would Alice kill herself? She probably didn't have a reason. What? She'd been infected with Radical 6. That's what killed her. But you just said she killed herself! Just tell me the truth. I am. Then prove it. Your 10 seconds ran out a long time ago, so if you don't have any proof... I do. I have proof. There was a journal in the lab, wasn't there, Kay? Show it to me. A journal? It would have been in the safe. Ah, well, Alice would have it then. Fi, can you? I don't feel right touching a dead woman's body. Could you take a look? Sure. Her hands barely shook as she quickly searched through Alice's clothing. It was only seconds before she stopped. Slowly and carefully, she drew something out. There it was. The journal. Fi turned to hand it to me, but I shook my head. You read it. It's in Latin. I can't make heads or tails of it. She cocked an eyebrow at me and flipped the small book open. When she looked back up at me, it was both with suspicion and surprise. Yeah, it is Latin. But translating this is impossible. It's full of words I've never used before. I can barely understand any of this. Go to page 216. Page 216. Huh? Turn to page 216. You should be able to read that one. Fi's frown deepened, but she did as I'd suggested. I watched her eyes quickly scan the page before looking up at me with renewed suspicion. Yeah, I can read this page. How did you know? No, wait, how did you even know there was a journal in the lab? I just knew. You just knew, come on. Look, just read it, okay? Clover wants to hear what it has to say. Right? Yeah. Right. Give me a moment to look it over. After a few moments of whispering to herself in Latin, Fire began to translate, paraphrasing the contents of the journal. Radical 6 reduces the processing speed of the brain by the factor of 1/6. Okay, we've done this. Research has shown that it will probably respond to the right sort of antiviral medication, but no one has been able to develop one yet. Okay, we've done that. The uninfected have only managed it, yep. Oh Lord, please. Let their future be a bright one. Fire shut the journal with a soft slap. Flap. A sickly silence drifted through the room. The newspaper article, the recording, the conversation with Tenmyouji, and now this journal entry. There was no more hiding from the truth. The pandemic had already happened. Oh, Clover. All of Clover's rage suddenly dissipated, and she collapsed to the floor, tears pouring down her face. None of us had the heart to say anything, and for several long moments, the only sound in the room was Clover's sobs. Is that the end? No. We've got a problem. It's almost time for the primary doors to open. Yeah, only 10 minutes left. Sorry, but I'll be taking Alice's bracelet. Fire and I won't be able to open the secondary door without it. So she was a magenta pair just like me. Just now noticed that, did you? As he spoke, Dio grabbed the bracelet off the floor and dropped it into his pocket. What colour is your bracelet, Luna? I'm a Cyan pair. You are part of Clover's pair, then. That means the two of you will need to come with me. I guess so. Come on now, Clover. We need to go. Alice would want you to survive, wouldn't she? You'll never be able to figure out why all this happened if you stay here. Please. You're right. Alice, I promise I'll find out what happened to you. I'll figure out who Zero really is. I mean, if you'd never been locked up in here, this never would have happened. So it's like Zero killed you. I promise. I'll avenge you. Clover stood up and rubbed her hands, roughly over her eyes, smearing tears across her cheeks. Then with a determined frown, she strode out of the room. Alright, we're out of time. Move, people.
You guys head on down to the Floor B warehouse. We'll catch up with you later.
Oh, right. Quark's got the yellow bracelet, which makes him your partner, right?
Yeah. Can't exactly leave him behind.
Without him, we'd end up stuck in the AB room.
Uh-huh.
Okay, let's go. We'll see the rest of you once we've picked up Quark. Very well. Until we meet again. So we've got to go down the lift. Can we skip this? Nope. Infirmary. There he is.
Quark! You're awake!
Yeah, I just woke up. Hey, where's everybody else?
Hehehe.
That's what he looks like.
Oh god, Quark!
Tenmyouji's entire body shook with emotion as he drew closer to him. He cautiously laid a trembling hand on the boy's shoulder, almost as if he were afraid Quark would disappear in a puff of smoke the moment he was touched. When Quark proved to indeed be corporeal, Tenmyouji let out a cry and threw his arms around him.
What's wrong? Are you okay, Grandpa?
It's nothing. Nothing's wrong, I'm fine.
But...
Quark gave him a puzzled look. Tenmyouji didn't even notice. His face was a mixture of happiness and relief, and I could see tears twinkling from the wrinkled corners of his eyes. All traces of his usual gruff stoicism had vanished. I didn't want to interrupt such a happy reunion, but we were running out of time. Still, Tenmyouji deserved a few minutes. I left them alone. At last, Tenmyouji seemed to recover, and shifted from an embrace to a protective arm around the shoulder.
So, how are you feeling?
Feeling? Well, okay, I guess. Was I sick or something?
No, you're not sick. If you feel fine, then you're fine.
Huh.
I'm sorry. I should never have gotten you involved in all of this.
What are you apologizing for?
Sorry.
You're doing it again. Are you sure you're okay? So, where's everybody else? Mr. Sigma's here, but he's just been standing there looking kinda silly.
I gave him a nervous smile and explained about the white doors. I got the feeling Tenmyouji didn't want Quark to know about Radical 6, so I avoided any mention of it. Alice's death was something I also left for later.
Okay, that makes sense. That means I'm on a team with you guys, right?
Right.
So, these white doors, when are they gonna open?
Well, we've got about 4 minutes until the primary doors open.
Ah! That's not good. We need to hurry, come on. How do we get to the Floor B warehouse?
Okay, we're going. Follow me.
Oh, follow me. Can we skip this door? No, we can't. I watched that Nintendo Direct today. A bit boring, to be honest with you. Warehouse B. Chromatic doors have been opened. 5 minutes remain until chromatic doors close. You're late. Where the hell have you been? Quark! You're awake. And fully recovered, apparently. I am also relieved to see you well again. I am also here.
Me too.
Wait a minute.
What are you talking about?
I looked at the others from behind Quark and held a warning finger up to my lips. There were a few momentarily raised eyebrows and some nervous coughing as everyone suddenly fell silent.
Huh.
From Quark's perspective, it must have seemed especially odd. Anyway, there isn't any time left. We need to hurry.
But there are 3 doors.
Which team goes in which door? All of the doors are identical for this round. I believe it doesn't matter which team uses which door. Then we're taking the one in the middle. Why that one? You want a kill shot, you aim for the center. You're more likely to just miss the extremities. That logic is flawed and more than slightly disturbing. Unfortunately, I don't really have a counter-argument, so center door it is. I suppose we could go with the one on the left. Is that okay? I mean, we could go with the other one if you want. Hay and Cloven only nodded.
Well, there's only one left.
The door on the right.
Any objections? Alright, let's move. 30 seconds remain until chromatic doors close. Hurry it up, Faye. This thing's gonna close. I know. It's time we were going as well. Right. Sure. Come on, guys. There's no time to waste.
Right behind you.
Let's go.
Let's-a go.
2, 1, 0. Chromatic doors closing. The director's office. Oh. What is this place?
Probably the office of whatever. Let's start again. Probably the office of whoever it is that's running this place. It said director's office on the door.
So this might be Zero Senior's office.
Maybe. Or maybe not.
Well, which is it?
Why the hell would I know? We should look around. If this really is Zero Senior's room, there might be some clues.
Yeah, you got a point. Let's get started then. Seek a way out. Cool. Well, we're going to seek a way out next time on Borderline Games in the director's office. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Virtue's Last Reward, and I will see you next time. Have a good evening. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Yep.